Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Live from iRacing's virtual Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona, welcome sim racing fans to the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Qualifying Series presented by Yokohama. Happy that you're all with us here on Apex Racing TV for the 5th round of this qualifying series season. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside with me in the commentary booth is my colleague, Dane Baird, with Mark Tranter down in the virtual production trailer. And Dane, we are down to the final 3 rounds of this championship. It's Kevin Ellis Jr. at the top, but we're focusing on that bubble line of 18th. Lucas Cram sits on it. Vicente Salas, Connor Parise, Josh Edmondson, Matt Busa, 4 really big names sit right below that top 18, and they need to be above 18th to be automatically considered, I should say, for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship come the fall.
Yeah, absolutely, and considered as a very important part because it might not be such a big thing in Rallycross, but certainly in some other championships, some drivers are essentially blacklisted from the World Championship Series. If iRacing don't feel that the driver would represent them in a positive light, then yeah, you can be rejected, even if you do finish inside the top 18 position. We saw last year's World Championship, a lot of drivers below the top 14 as it was last year for the Qualifier Series actually end up making it into the World Championship because a lot of drivers just didn't accept their licenses. A few drivers were doing the series just for fun. They didn't want to do the World Championship, and so we ended up with Sindre Silva. I think he qualified in 17th, 18th. He ended up in the World Championship right from the word go. We had a couple of drivers all the way down at 20th, 21st getting in by the end of the World Championship season, just because a few drivers dropping out and stuff like that. So it's definitely good to get inside that top 18, but probably not entirely necessary. But Phoenix, this is a very difficult part of the circuit. This long right-hander in the dirt. You see the drivers trying to use every ounce of grip that they can find by avoiding the dirt at all costs.
And every ounce of time they can shave off of these lap times. Edmondson gonna hop up into P8. Never mind, back down to P9. There goes Killian Delalmo for Set Esports up into P6. And we saw an exciting feature 1 week ago at Hell Lankabanen. Expecting another one of those tonight, as everybody is qualified and we are ready for heat number 1. 5 cars will go racing here in this heat. The top 2 will automatically advance to the feature. The other 3 will have to race through the constellation to see where they will line up into the feature. We have 9 cars signed up. All 9 will be going into the feature race here tonight. But we start with the first 5 here in heat number 1. Otto Toskanen with the best time there in the number 8 machine, 35.762. A great lap time from Otto Toskanen, and the driver sitting in 3rd currently in the overall points. Luis Nunez to his outside for Logitech G Altus Esports. Jacob Raffus, Connor Parise, and Josh Edmondson are going to round out the 5 drivers ready to take the green flag here in the first heat of the night. And Dane, we saw an exciting round in the World Championship here from Phoenix, and I don't think this round in the qualifying series will let us down either.
Oh no, like I said at the end of the broadcast last week, Phoenix in last year's qualifier series, we had like a 7-car battle for the win in that round. It was absolutely insanely good. Hopefully we can have the same thing here today.
Well, here we go. The lights are going to come up, and we are getting ready to take the green flag. And there it is. We are underway. Getting to a great start. It's Otto Toskanen getting shoved in the middle. That's going to be Connor Parise. 2 cars right off into the barrier. Luis Nunez into the barrier. Josh Edmondson goes to the tires. Parise down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going for a pass on Raffus. He will get it as they work their way through. Raffus going to hop into the Joker lane. Looks like Toskanen stays out. Parise up and over the dirt section. No, Toskanen does come into the Joker. Top 2 Joker. Parise stays on the racetrack with Edmondson and Nunez trying to gather themselves up. Edmondson going to take to the Joker. Take a look at all the damage on the Jim Beaver Esports number 2 machine. He's going to have to fight from the back. Luis Nunez with a ton of damage as well to his Subaru. He'll be fighting from 5th as 3 cars, Joker, Parise, and Nunez will have to Joker in the next 4 laps.
Yeah, that was a huge contact into the wall. Both of those cars, I would not be surprised if they end up retiring from the race because of engine damage, because they hit the front of that car really hard into the barriers. I think Nunez ended up in the safer barrier on the outside, which is even harder than Edmondson. He only ended up in the tire barriers on the left-hand side. Parise taking to the Joker now, and look how far behind Daston he is. Is he going to come out side by side with Raffus? I'm not too sure. He's just about come out ahead.
Comes out slightly ahead of Jacob Raffus. Scandinavian going to go down into P3 for the moment. And look at him coming right back through that first corner, heading into the infield section here at the Phoenix Raceway. So it's Toskanen leading. Top 4 now have all taken to the Joker. Raffus trying to get by Parise for that 2nd spot. Jim Beaver Esports versus Set Esports as they go through. Take a look at Jacob Raffus right down there on the bottom. He hugs the curbs. He door slams the Connor Parise machine, and he will hop up into 2nd place. What a move from Jacob Raffus. He saw that door and he slammed it open to take back 2nd.
Oh, and he's run wide. He's slammed into the wall now on the outside of turn 1. And that's allowed Parise right back through, so Raffus is going to have to try and do it all over again.
We'll go right back to the dirt section. 2 laps to go. Nunez still waiting to Joker there from P5. We'll see if he can overtake Josh Edmondson there in 2nd. But Raffus taking the same line he did 1 lap ago, just hugging those curbs down there on the inside, trying to get those tires off of the dirt for a little bit of added grip. He will stay in 3rd as Toskanen takes the white flag. Looks like he might be getting a little bit too far back now to make a diving move, but it's all Finland's Otto Toskanen for Black Star Racing up at the front. He comes into today 3rd in the points. 3 top 5s in the features, 1 feature race win, and with an average finish of 3rd in the feature as well. He is looking to improve on that here today. As he comes through the Joker lane, Parise going to stay in 2nd, Rafa stays in 3rd. Nunez looking for a pass on Edmondson through the Joker. It's not going to pan out that way as they both come out of the Joker. Across the line, it's Otto Toskinen in 1st. Parise going to take the 2nd transfer spot. Take a look at the momentum coming from the Logitech Geotis Esports Subaru. Nunez, just not enough time to catch Edmondson. Edmondson will finish in 4th, and Nunez is going to come home in 5th off of heat number 1. What an exciting way to start this round from Phoenix, and a great finishing for Otto Toskinen and Connor Parise. They'll move on into the feature automatically. Rafos, Edmondson, and Nunez will have to race through the constellation to see where they'll line up in the feature. Tuominen and Salas line up on the front row here for this heat, and Killian Delolmo with Bo Albert there in the 2nd row. Only 4 drivers taking the green flag here in heat number 2. And we'll see where they will finish and which 2 of these drivers will move in automatically to the feature and which other 2 will have to then race out of the constellation. Remember, everybody will make it into the feature. We will not eliminate a single car before that feature race. Just depends on if you need to race out of the constellation and where you want to line up. Here we go. Lights are going to come back up, and we are getting ready to go back to racing here in heat number 2 from Phoenix. And we are underway here in heat number 2. A great start for the 2 Set Esports drivers on that inside line. They'll race into turn number 1. Tuominen going to protect the inside. That's his teammate down there, Killian Delolmo. Salas and the VW Beetle going to get pinched out to 3rd. Contact made, and almost going around. It's the Set Esports machine at Killian Delolmo. Albert stays on the track with him. Tuominen and Salas head to the Joker.
And Albert's getting held up now. He probably should have gone to the Joker as well, because Delolmo was really slow through the first part of the dirt section, completely offline. Had to slow down to actually make the corner and not come off the side of the jump, as we see way too often here at Phoenix. And yeah, he probably lost quite a bit of time there, and doesn't look particularly well for him at the moment. But they do have the 2 drivers that have Jokered now. These 2 can gain a bit of time in the Joker when they do take it. So now it's just putting their heads down and seeing if they can make up that gap, because the top 2 went to the Joker on the last time. I gained a couple seconds, and yeah, Albert not looking particularly close enough to make a move, but we'll have to wait and see. Still a couple laps left in the race.
Now the timing tower does say Killian Delolmo is in 4th, 1 lap down. He is currently scored in 3rd. So he'll be fighting there from the 3rd spot. There we go. It updates over to 3rd as Delolmo sets a purple lap time, 35.821. A great lap time from the Set Esports number 1. But it's all Rasmus Tuominen out in front, and the lone VW Beetle in the field. Vicente Salas sitting there in 2nd. But off of the jump, Tuominen goes around. It's a hard contact into the tires, and he is going to move into 2nd place. Salas to the lead. A disastrous mistake for Rasmus Tuominen. He only falls to 2nd, but now he has his teammate Killian Delolmo starting to catch up to him. Can Tuominen take the lead back from Salas? He's got 2 laps to do it.
I think he should be more worried about Delolmo, because he's now caught right up. Because yeah, he was just about close enough to catch up to Salas. Now Salas hasn't lost any time, hasn't gained any time on him. But yeah, he's now in front, so Tuominen completely in danger of getting overtaken by his teammate when Delolmo goes into the Joker, and he's only got 1 more opportunity to do it. So Tuominen's got to watch his back now, not only try and get back in front of Salas, he's got to try to stay in front of his teammate. I don't think he can do it.
Delolmo as well as Bo Albert there in 4th need to Joker this time by. So the white flag is out. 1 final lap here in heat race number 2. Delolmo sets another fastest lap of the race at a 35.820, literally 1/1000th of a second quicker than his other fastest lap time. Here comes Delolmo into the Joker. He has the lead provisionally. Will it stay as he goes through the corner? Racing through the dirt section is Salas and Tuominen. Is he going to come out in front? The drag race is on, and he will! It'll be Killian Delolmo with a picture-perfect final lap Joker in Heat 2 to walk away with the win, and he knocks his teammate into the constellation.
Yeah, that was a terrible, terrible mistake there. coming over the jump sideways. Like I said, he came off completely sideways, smashed into the tire barriers on the outside. Luckily, he wouldn't have got too much damage from that, so he could carry on his way. But yeah, loads of time lost, and in the end, that's what took him out of the lead of the race. Delormo, fantastic for him. He propels himself up onto the front row of the grid for the feature.
We now get ready for the consolation. 5 drivers racing out of this session. It'll be Jacob Raffus, Rasmus Tuomanen, Josh Edmondson, Bo Albert, and Luis Nunez lining up on the grid here for the consolation. Now, remember, all 5 drivers will advance their way into the feature to join the other 4 for a 9-car feature race. It's just to determine where they will start from 5th down to 9th, and the lights are up and they quickly go out. We are racing here in the consolation. Diving down into turn number 1, 2 set Esports cars go side by side. Everybody beating it, banging 3 wide for a moment as they dive into the corner, getting out in front. That looks to be Josh Edmondson as one car goes way off. That looks to be Jacob Raffus for set Esports.
Yeah, Raffles making contact with both of the Altus cars there. And it looks like Albert has ended up right out in front, probably taking to the Joker. Actually, no, sorry, Edmondson still out in front. Bit of a glitch with the timing tower on my end, at least. Edmondson out in front by quite some way as well. Tuomanen probably in one of the better positions to make up places here because he's got pretty much clear air in front of it and still has that Joker to take as well. It is a shortcut here, despite them going sort of the long way around the final corner. They do skip out most of the dirt section, so they do gain a couple seconds when they take it. So it's going to be interesting to see how close Tuomanen can get. Edmondson should pop up to the top of the timing tower next time by, but he has got a fairly healthy lead over Albert, so it looks like he might finish in the top 2 in this race here. Raffos absolutely nowhere, basically got turned right around at the start.
Unfortunate for the set Esports car. There goes Edmondson up to the lead. Albert, Tuomanen, Nunez, and Raffus, the drivers as they currently stand. There's Rasmus Tuomanen. Coming into this, it was 2 Logitech GLTC Esports cars, 2 set Esports cars, and 1 Jim Beaver Esports machine. Is diving into the Joker goes Rasmus Tuomanen. He'll take the lead provisionally for the moment. Is that going to stand? Nunez is in as well right behind him. There's Edmondson coming through the dirt section. He's got Luis Nunez behind him. Out in front goes Tuomanen. It's a drag race, but up into second it will go Luis Nunez. Albert now going to make a move for P3, and he's going to take over that spot as well. Edmondson falls from the lead to P4 in just a handful of corners as we have 2 to go here in the consolation. New leader, Rasmus Tuomanen at the front of the field.
And he looks pretty safe as well. If he can avoid making the same mistake he made in his heat race, then he should be all set there, because the only other driver who hasn't joked is Raffos' teammate. And like I said, Raffos absolutely nowhere. He will definitely be starting the feature race from last position. But only 1 lap to go now for Tuomanen, and he's got a healthy 1 second lead behind him, so should be safely through into the feature starting in 5th.
So white flag is out. 1 more lap here in the consolation. Then we'll be getting ready for tonight's feature race. Nunez looking stout there in the Logitech GLTC Sports machine. He currently sits 11th in the points. His teammate, Bo Albert, up in 6th currently of the points. Great rebound season from him after the bit of a disastrous feature race he had in Daytona to start out the season. And out for the Joker lane, back onto the asphalt, it's Rasmus Tuomanen that's going to take the win here on the consolation. Nunez in 2nd. It's Albert, it's Edmondson, and it's Raffus that round out the 5 drivers who took the green flag here in the consolation. With all that said, it is now time for the feature race here tonight from Phoenix. There's how they finished in the consolation. Those 5 drivers will start 5th down to 9th here in the feature race, and they join the 2 heat winners, Otto Toskinen for heat number 1, Killian Delamo for heat number 2, the 2 heat runner-ups, Connor Parise in heat 1, Vicente Salas in heat 2, and then the 5 consolation drivers is Tuomanen, Nunez, Albert, Edmondson, and Raffus. Those 5 to complete the 9 drivers ready to go racing here in the feature race from Phoenix. Looking for some good finishes. There's a handful of drivers in this split. Vicente Salas sits in 19th in the points coming in. Parise sits in 20th. Edmondson in 22nd. What can they do to try and get themselves up into the top 18 of the points? The lights go up and they go out. We are green flag racing in the feature race from Phoenix. It's side by side down into one. Toskinen versus Delamo. One City Sports car getting around, going into the wall. That's Tuominen. 3 wide, 4 wide as they dive into the corner for the first time. Getting out in front is Toskinen. It's Delamo. Salas gonna make contact with a Jim Beaver Esports machine. Connor Parise. They dive into the Joker. 2 cars in. Albert's in. Looks like also joining him, it's Connor Parise in there. Looks like a handful of other drivers in there as well. But out in front, it looks to be Toskinen able to hold on to that lead as everybody fights from there through the dirt section.
Oh, one car right up into the air over the blue turtle curbs. We've seen that before in other parts of the calendar, but I think that was Edmondson. Probably has a bit of engine damage as well from that, so that might be his competitive race well and truly over. Albert still fighting now with Parisi, the top 4 drivers taking to the Joker on the first time by, and there goes, I believe, is Delamo up into second, now up into the lead around the outside for the final corner. Will he be able to hold on to that? I'm not too sure. He's going to lose out a couple of positions, but he will get a better exit out of the final corner. Is it going to be enough to get side by side with Toskinen? I don't think it will be, as Albert gets turned around.
Contact with Connor Parise coming out of the Joker lane sends Albert around down into P number 10. Otto Toskinen sets a new fastest lap of the race, 35.96, as he goes into the dirt section once again. Look at this. 6 cars have jokered. Salas makes it 7. It's Tuominen and Edmondson staying out currently. We'll see where they'll come out after they complete their joker lanes, but it looks like this is going to be a pretty successful one from Vicente Salas. You can see Otto Toskinen fighting there in the lead. Delamo in second. Here comes Salas out in third. That's Nunez in fourth, with Parise rounding out the top 5. So a good joker from the number 9 Elliott Sadler Esports machine of Vicente Salas. Toskinen and Delamo are going to keep fighting for the lead. Only about 8/10 separate them as they go back into the dirt section. 7 laps to go. Toskinen trying to hold on for his second feature race win of the season.
Has something happened further back, because Tuominen suddenly gained a whole bunch of places? Actually, no, he's just gone into the Joker, I think. And we'll see him come out on the right-hand side of the screen. There he goes. He's just come up behind Nunez, but has a bunch of overspeed. Will he be able to make it side by side into turn 1? No, he won't. He'll have to try and make that move up on track, and that's easier said than done here at Phoenix, as Salas taking a very wide line to return to.
So that only leaves Josh Edmondson yet to take to the Joker lane. It looks like, looking at his interval between himself and the car in front, about 4 seconds. Don't think he'll be able to make up at least many positions, or any at all, if he were to Joker here in the next 5 laps. At the line, it will be 5 to go as Toskinen continues to lead the way. Look at that gap between himself and Killian Delamo starting to fall as Tuominen is on the back bumper. Luis Nunez for 4th. Here's the battle for the lead. Toskinen leads the way. Look at that lap time from Delamo, a solid about 3/10 quicker for the Set Esports number 1 machine. The Frenchman trying to take the lead away as they go over the jump with 5 to go into the dirt section. Can he take it a little bit tighter than Otto Toskinen has been? They both ride the turtle curves down the bottom of the racetrack here, on board with the 1 as they race out of the dirt section. It's not enough this time, but as he tries to get grip, will he have the run going into 1?
I don't think so. He got really a bit too far over the curbs coming out of the final corner there. He had to correct himself way too much. Lost a whole bunch of time there. You can see he lost just under 0.2 of a second on that last lap. But he is putting Toskinen under pressure. Both of these drivers, of course, former World Championship drivers. They both lost their license from last year. They didn't finish inside the top 10 in points at the end, but both of them still very quick indeed. And that's a huge mistake from Toskinen. Delamo gets into the side of him, misses the curb, and look how much time he's lost there. Almost got up alongside, but just got into the side of him, slowed them both down. And now Salas wanted to try and make something happen out of that, but just was too far back. He's still looking behind him at Nunez, who's closing the gap to him and actually extending from Tuominen. That's something that's not particularly easy to do. Tuominen's normally pretty good when he comes up to your bumper, but no, Nunez actually pulling away from him.
So 3 to go. Edmondson is now going to Joker. Is he going to be able to overtake Jacob Raffus? I don't believe so. That will leave Albert in 10th as he has already used his Joker. 2 to go now at the line. Take a look at Delolmo right on the back bumper of Otto Toskanen. He looks to the inside and 1. Delolmo sends it up the bottom. He goes wide. A little bit into the tire barrier. Take a look at Vicente Salas. He's now going to fight for P2. Toskanen keeps the lead. Salas falls back to 3rd. Delolmo will have to regroup now from 2nd. They'll come and take the white flag this time.
I think there might have been a bit of contact between Delolmo and Salas there. Salas backed out of that one way earlier than you'd expect him to. Could have easily stuck it around the outside and held it. He actually had a lot more speed than Delolmo. So that's a bit of an odd one there that he ended up backing out. But Delolmo not nearly close enough to make anything happen on Toskanen this time by. Toskanen pretty much safe if he can just make it over the jump cleanly.
They'll come to the checkered flag this time. That one send from Delolmo looks like that was all he was able to do. He could not make it stick. Contact was made, and a trip to the tire barrier was booked for Killian Delolmo. At the end of the day, it is going to be Otto Toskanen with a nearly perfect day. He takes the win here in the feature. It's Delolmo, Salas, Nunez, and Tuominen, your top 5. Parise comes home in 6. Raffus, Edmondson, and Albert rounding out your field. And I believe, Dane, that was the first hat trick we have seen of the season. Pole for Otto Toskanen, a win in his heat race, heat number 1, and a win in the feature. What a race for the number 8 today.
Absolutely, he's done an absolutely fantastic job out there. Not normally, we're not actually used to seeing him right up at the front, at the very front. Pole position, winning both his heat and his feature as well. Fantastic job from him. We'll get some donuts from him as well. He's pretty happy with that, as he should be. But it made it look easy in the end, in his heat race at least, and then had to fend off some really fierce attacking from Killian there, just about holding it around the outside. He did some fantastic defense there. He let Killian go up along the inside. Killian sent it a little bit too deep. Otto took advantage of that, cut back inside and took the lead, and actually almost gained about half a second in towards the 3rd and 4th corners. So fantastic driving from him, well-deserved win.
And he continues to burn it down. We enter the post-race show, and with Toskanen's win, Tuominen comes home in 5th. It's going to be tight. I don't think we'll see any movement up at the top of the leaderboard in terms of points between Tuominen and Toskanen. This is going to further solidify Toskanen above that cut line of the top 18. I would like to think this 3rd place from Vicente Salas might also help him get above Lucas Cram, who currently sits on 18th. Parise with not the best day, but a 6th place could also help him try and get closer to that cut line. Edmondson's struggles continue, but depending on how Matt Busa did in his split, and of course depending on everybody else above him, we could see him get back up into the top 18 after this as we continue to wait for those points to get updated. And we'll see if we can grab Otto Toskanen and Killian Delolmo into our interview waiting area, but if not, then looks like we'll be speaking with Vicente Salas. It looks like we're going to bring him up now. Vicente Salas, a 3rd place finisher here in the feature. Vicente, of course, not the race you wanted. You would have liked the win there, but still a solid finish for you and your VW Beetle. How was the race top to bottom throughout the heats and throughout the feature?
I think the races were really solid. Definitely got some hard racing in there with Killian and a few others. But overall, I think this track wore in really nicely, and I'm really, really happy to scrape out of here with a good result.
And talking about that good result, of course, you come in only 1 spot lower than the cut line. Did you need a feature race like this to get those good points and try and get yourself above that cut line into the top 18? Because time is very quickly running out with only Sonoma and Charlotte now left on the calendar.
Yes, I'd say definitely needed points this race. Obviously, we got the really, really good first win in Daytona, and since then, with our results, we just haven't really had any luck. I think the pace has been there, but I mean, a few mistakes on my part and situationally things that happened, it just never went our way. So, I mean, that's kind of why I let Killian by when I got side by side with him right before the jump, you know. I didn't know if we were going to crash through there or what was going to happen, and honestly, 3rd place is exactly what we needed for our season.
Now going into Sonoma in 1 week's time. Do you think you can continue this positive momentum and get going and get above that top 18 for the cut line before Charlotte? And even at Charlotte, do you think you can continue the positive momentum there and keep up climbing in the leaderboard and get into the World Championship once again?
For sure. I think the speed is 100% there. We've been working pretty well on all these setups and with all the tracks. You know, we've been building for Beetle and for the Subaru. And I mean, last time we had a good result was race 1 with the Beetle, so I wouldn't be surprised if we show up to Sonoma possibly with the Beetle.
Thank you so much for joining us here, Vicente. Congratulations on your 3rd place here in the feature.
Thank you so much. And real quick, if I could just thank Donovan Strauss and Josh Kosick for being on my box. They did a great job of keeping me updated on what was going on around me and deltas and all that stuff. So really appreciate them. Elliott Sadler Esports for being on the car. Hansky Gloves, Stroker Industries, Space Station Gaming, you know, Race for them in the Coke Series. So just thank you to everyone that puts into this operation.
Thank you very much for joining us. That is Vicente Salas, 3rd place finisher in the feature race here from Virtual Phoenix Raceway. And Dane, we'll start previewing the next round in Sonoma. Obviously, it was on the calendar twice 1 year ago. It was where we crowned the champion Johan Harth and the champion for Team Yokohama. It's a very unique track in Rallycross. A lot of people love that track, especially in the World Championship. So I think it's a good benchmarker really to see not only who can get above that cut line of the top 18, but for those drivers who are going to be locked in, who can really put together a good race at Sonoma, because it is the last familiar track before we go to Charlotte for round 7.
Yeah, and it was up until very recently when we got a whole influx of Rallycross circuits, one of the only circuits that actually had elevation change, because as anyone who's been watching the season so far has seen, most of the circuits are in the infield of ovals, and the infield of ovals tend to be rather flat. So it was the only circuit that had actual elevation change other than the jump. And yeah, it's a really interesting circuit, very flowing, one of the best circuits in the Rallycross calendar for sure. Very popular with the drivers, and it races very well as well. You can go side by side, you can give driver in front of you a little bit of a nudge into some of the corners and maybe help your way through. But yeah, it's a fantastic circuit for racing. We saw round 1 in the qualifier series there last year, the final round in the World Championship. Of course, it often gets featured in calendars twice, back when we didn't have as many circuits, because other circuits have a long and short layout. Sonoma, very popular circuit, so it often got featured twice. So the drivers are all very, very familiar with it. And usually that makes for fantastic racing, because we don't see as many mistakes. We just see a much closer racing.
And that close racing we've been seeing throughout the qualifying series. And just before this race, we talked about those drivers that were under the cut line. Now, we're still waiting on points to update, but we just talked with Vicente Salas. He seems confident. Connor Parise still needs to get above the cut line. Josh Edmondson in 22nd. He's very close to above that cut line. Jacob Raffas, he started down in 26th at the start of this race. He's not fully out of the realm of possibility to get up to the front. So do you think these drivers that are sitting in below that cut line can get above it with a good race at Sonoma and Charlotte?
I would say so, yeah. It's definitely going to be dependent on other drivers, though, because we've seen a lot of the drivers in second, third, even fourth split actually making it into the top 18 just by finishing exceptionally consistently well in their splits. Kevin S. Jr., for example, I don't know how he's done in today's race, but every other race he's won the feature that he's been in. He's only been in the third or fourth split every single round, but yeah, he's consistently won everything, and he's made his way right up to the top of the World Championship Qualifier Series standings so far. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It's not just down to these drivers in the top split. A lot of them outside the cut line. So yeah, they've got to really work hard, and it's going to have a bit of luck play into their hands as well, with other drivers in other splits where they have absolutely zero control over maybe not having the best rounds. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting heading into the final couple of rounds, possibly some desperation heading into the final couple of rounds too, because some of these drivers, they know that they have no control over what half the championship field are doing. They only have control over 9 or 10 of them. So it's a very odd situation for drivers to be in. They're not actually racing the people that they're racing in the points. which is very odd. And yeah, it should make for some drivers wanting it a little bit more than others.
And before we sign off here on Apex Racing TV, we'll grab a look at the replay of the race start here in the feature, because it was a bit of a wild one as they all dived into turn number 1. And we saw a lot of drivers trying to go down into turn number 1 and put a lot of cars through that tight braking zone of turn 1 here at Phoenix Dane. You can see the 2 heat winners lining up on the front row, and it was just a perfect start from Otto Toskinen to get away. It was a little bit of a better start from DeLalmo, but you can see that inside line really working for Otto Toskinen after that door slam, and all 3 set Esports cars either going to the wall or nearly going into the wall.
Yeah, and that almost happened in every single race that we saw a set car in. They all seem to like that outside wall between turns 1 and 2. It was actually a little bit of netcode, maybe half a meter or so of netcode between Toskinen and DeLalmo on that first time by, and that's what sent DeLalmo into the ball. I don't think he took any actual damage from it. You can hit that barrier fairly hard side on and it won't do too much, but yeah, definitely lost him a little bit of time. Had to go 3 wide at the start through turn 2 with Salas, and I believe it was Nunez who sent it up the inside through there. But yes, it was a very chaotic start, and they always are at Phoenix, because you've got the start line. Well, first of all, turn 1 is basically a flat-out kink. The braking point on a regular racing lap is as you hit the apex of turn 1, and you brake all the way down trail into turn 2. But the way that the start grid works is it's actually a bit further to the inside of the corner. So instead of being a flat-out kink, the drivers have to go left and then take the kink, and the track tightens up a lot. So you often see drivers going side by side, going 3 wide because the track is so wide, and then it tightens up and you see the drivers collecting each other. That's what happened in heat number 1, so we see what happened to Bo Albers in the background.
And this start, obviously, we've seen some exciting starts all season long, but seemed like this one a little bit less chaotic than what we have seen in the past, but definitely a sign of how you can expect these drivers to race here in iRacing Rallycross. And that is going to do it for our broadcast here on Apex Racing TV of the 5th round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship qualifying series presented by Yokohama. Remember to give us a follow wherever you can find us at Apex Racing TV on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Make sure to hit the subscribe button here on YouTube as well. Click the notification bell to get notified whenever we go live here on Apex Racing TV for another broadcast. For our producer, Mark Tranter, for my colleague in the booth, Dane Baird, I am Joshua Lee. Thank you for joining us here for round number 5 from Phoenix, and we will see you for the 6th round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship qualifying series in 1 week's time from virtual Sonoma.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.